Semi-automatic or straight pull shotgun, both the same system. Chamber's clear, it's definitely unloaded, but we'll just make sure, we'll work the action a couple of times, make sure that it's definitely clear, and I'll open the action so it's clear. So we'll pull it apart and start the cleaning process. Undo the screw at the front here. Place it on the bench. Pull the fore end off. And the barrel will come straight out like that. Now, I'll now drop the receiver down. Something to be very aware of, not on this model because this is a modern semi-automatic shotgun. Some of the old time guns like the Remington 1100s or the Winchester 1200s or the 870s, when you pull this off here, the tube, there's a little plunger in the end of your magazine tube. It's just a C-clip that holds out and there's a lot of pressure there. When you put it on, put this cap straight back on again to prevent the spring flying out. It'll go right across the workshop and you'll be struggling to find it. So that's why you're going to make sure that the magazine is always empty. But with this modern shotgun, I don't have to worry because it can't come out with this one. So I'll set the barrel aside and I'll show you how to pull the receiver apart. So the receiver comes apart by that pin being pushed out like that. That pin will take the trigger group out. To pull out this part out of the receiver here, you push in on this model, you push in a little bit on the rotating bolt face, most of the same, and then pull out like that, and then your cocking handle will come out. Once the cocking handle comes out, the whole lot will just pull out like that. So that's the firearm pulled apart. Because I pulled the retaining pin out of the trigger group comes out too. That's all they are. There's nothing to them. Now, on this model here, I can undo the pins here and unscrew this. But remember, your magazine has a big spring in here, so it's under tension. When you undo this, the spring's going to want to fly out. So you've got to hold it under tension when you pull the spring out and clean up in here. About once a year, I would clean up in my magazine tube because they fill up with a lot of dirt. Okay? So I'll set the trigger group assembly over here and I'll set the bolt face over here. So again, we'll get the good old cleaner out and we'll start cleaning. I'll get the brush. I'll use the soft plastic brush this time because this is a aluminium receiver. So I'll just clean out the heavy dirt on the inside. Get that cleaner in there. Get the acetone working and the shellite, breaking away all that heavy powder fouling. I'll use my rag and start wiping on the inside. Wipe down all on the inside, removing all the heavy fouling on the inside, like that. Then use some of the rag there. See how it takes off straight away? It takes off all the powder fouling. It's a really good cleaner. Just takes it straight off. So everything's there clean. I'll now blow out with contact cleaner, get it nice and clean on the inside. That's the receiver clean. So I'll sit that over here to dry. I'll give the trigger group assembly a clean. It's not too bad, this one. Mainly on the loading gate. Give it a clean. Get the chemical on it, clean it all out. Contact cleaner, get all the old oil away, everything. Give it a good clean. They get very dirty from the gases coming back on semi-automatics. Your straight pull will be the same when you're firing it. Be a lot of dirt there. So I'll leave that one to dry for a bit because I'm going to re-oil all these parts. I want to make sure it's dry and there's no contact cleaner there. So I'll leave that to clean. I'll now pull out the firing pin on the bolt face. So you push in here, there's a little pin on this model, push that out and pull that pin. But as I pull that pin out, I hold my finger on the back here to catch the firing pin because there's a spring here. Pull the pin out and there's the firing pin. Simple as that. Semi-autos are nothing to pull apart, they're really easy. Click that a few flicks like that because the dirt's holding it in. There's a pin here, pull that out. There it is, it's all pulled apart. That's the semi-auto pulled apart. So, cleaning. Cleaner. Get the cleaner inside, give it a clean. You can see I use these brushes a lot. Give that a clean. Give that a clean. Firing pin and its spring. Now it just shows you how much oil, there's a lot of oil on that firing pin, and I don't get hardly any oil near that bolt face, and there's oil there. It just shows how dirt and that it gets there and attracts. So very light with the oiling when you're near a firing pin. Clean that pin and that pin. So I've cleaned all the moving parts there, and now I'll start using contact cleaner. Down right inside the hole where the firing pin goes, blow it all out. The pins, blow them clean. The firing pin, I'll get the firing pin nice and clean. No oil at all on the firing pin. And the firing pin spring, like that. The firing pin spring, I do oil it. This is how light of oil I put on the firing pin spring. I put it in my oily rag and just give it a wipe like that. That's all. Just the slightest bit of oil on the firing pin spring. So I'll sit the firing pin spring back on the firing pin and sit it there ready for reassembly. Now, with my extractor that ejects the cartridge, I'll put 1 drop of oil on the spring. That's all it needs. Not much, just 1 little drop of oil. Now on this bolt face here, I give it the slightest little bit of grease. Just a smear like that. That's all I do on mine. Just the slightest little smear. And now I'll reassemble it. So the reassembly, it will go in like, back in like that. Put my retaining pin back in. Firing pin goes back in. Push the firing pin in, hold the pressure on it and put the retaining pin back in for the firing pin until it clicks. There's the bolt face back in. Easy as that. I'd give it a wipe here with a bit of oil, just slightly. A little smear of grease on the rails that run up and down the action of the firearm, but no oil around here. I'd even spray that part here now on this shotgun. No oil, because this is part of the gas system where the piston comes back from the explosion. You don't want any oil where there's gases coming back. So that is ready to go back in the receiver. Now our receiver is dry now. So now I would put the trigger group back in. Now the trigger group is dry, so we're going to have to give it a little bit of lubrication. On the main spring here, just a light bit of oil on that spring, a little bit of oil on there, and a couple of drops where you can see the moving hinge pivoting points. Work it in, pull the trigger a few times, work the oil in. There's another pivoting point. Work it in, and then put it back together. So now I've oiled the trigger group, we'll do reassembly. So we'll put the bolt back in. That goes in like that. Push in on the bolt face and drop my cocking handle back in until it clicks. Yep, that's in. Clicked. Just like that. Then the trigger group goes in like that and drop the pin back in. That's it. That's all they are to put back together. Easy as that. Work it a few times, nice and smooth. So that's cleaned, put back together. Now with the barrel, this is dirty. There's a lot of dirt here on the barrel of this. So I'll get the cleaner. Actually, I'll get the wire brush for this one, the copper one. Give it a scrub like that. Get the cleaner in there. Get it at them. That's there. Wipe it away with the rag, best you can. Contact cleaner. And I'll leave that to dry because I'm going to re-oil the ejection lever here, the piston. So after you pull the piston out, this part gets very dirty. This is part of your gas system. So I'll give that a clean with the cleaner. Use the coarse brush, scrub it. Gets dirty all the time. It'd be very hard to get it spotless, this one. Just clean off the heavy stuff as best as you can. Clean on the inside of the piston with your brush like that. Now I like to get a flat-headed screwdriver and scratch around in there on the face. Get rid of all the heavy build-up. If you do this all the time, your gas-operated firearm will work a lot better. I'll then clean off with a contact cleaner. No oil at all. I want everything dry. Everything's got to be dry and clean on this. I'll clean on the face of that, which I didn't get. That's dry, and then dry out. Make sure there's no oil where the gas port is. Your straight pull shotgun won't have this. If it is inertia driven, it'll just have the springs here. If it is a gas operated, it'll have this here. Okay, and you've got to keep that clean for proper function. And that's how you clean. I won't show you how to clean the barrel because I just did with the over and under shotgun. Exact same principle to clean the barrel and the choke. So now I'll reassemble it. Okay, so I'll wipe that off. Put the piston back in. With my oily rag, I will wipe the barrel wherever you would touch for oil. Wipe that out. A little drop of oil, just one drop of oil on that pin. It helps with the extraction of the cartridge. Wipe the excess oil off. I'll put the barrel back into the shotgun like this. I'll then just give that thread there a bit of a clean off. Get rid of all the old grease on the thread, of the cap thread. Clean it off with a bit of contact cleaner. Reapply some grease. So you've got fresh grease there. Not as much as that. I'll wipe out my fore end from the gases. Put the fore end back on. Put my cap back on. You don't need to pull these up super tight. Just a few clicks. That's it. Perfect. Uncock the firearm. Hold it back a bit. It's uncocked. And wipe off all the dirt. And as usual, just oil off wherever there's metal. That is aluminium, so I won't have to. Oil the barrel down from tip to toe. And that's how you clean a straight pull or a semi-automatic shotgun. I hope that was a help for you with cleaning of shotguns. Everyone has different ways of cleaning guns. That's the way I've always cleaned shotguns, and they've lasted for many years. If you learn different ways to clean a shotgun, by all means do it. but that's probably the most easiest and basic way I've seen to clean it. I see a lot of blokes with bore snakes. I'm not a fan of them. They don't clean very well. You put the cleaner up the bore, clean it with a bit of steel wool and the rag. It's like a mirror every time. Look after your shotgun and it'll look after you. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in one of my courses.